head for a minute. It happens so quickly, so quickly.
Why does a 2-year-old need to love the water, honestly, when it is the #1 thing that could kill them?
So I think it's critical we teach them at that age instead of hoping and praying and waiting that they can make it to that age without any kind of swim lessons.
Looking back and how quickly it happened, I mean, he was right there. He was on the couch.
Every summer, children drown at pools, lakes, rivers, and beaches. It can happen in just seconds. That's why we're dedicating a special report to water safety. Fox 39's Kristen Kwan shares one mother's story of loss and how a Bristol organization is working to save the lives of other children in our region.
Time. It goes by so fast. Like most moms, Nicole Hughes wishes she could go back to get more time.
We lost our 3-year-old son, Levi, and he was, he was just all boy. He was very rambunctious, had a lot of energy.
In June of 2018, Nicole, her husband, and 3 children went to the beach with friends.
I mean, we were about to go crab hunting, and he wasn't even wearing a swimsuit, and somehow, we'll never know how or why, but he left the couch. We didn't see him, and somehow he got out of the really heavy doors, down a flight of stairs, and reached the pool.
In what seemed like just seconds, their 3-year-old Levi had drowned. Though Hughes had preached water safety to her children and had Levi wear a life jacket anytime he was in the water, she found herself confronting every parent's worst nightmare.
He was right there. He was on the couch. And we were in the room. My husband and I were in the room with him. My phone was charging in an upstairs bedroom. We weren't on our phones. We weren't drinking. I was right there. Like, we were so close. So we really just needed 30 seconds.
This video is the last video of Levi alive. It was taken in the same pool where he would drown a few hours later.
I have 16 pictures of him, and in 14 of them from his final day, his final hours, he is wearing a life jacket or a puddle jumper. I mean, we really thought we were doing everything that honestly we were told to do when we looked up the information.
According to the CDC, more children ages 1 to 4 die from drowning than any other cause of death, and it can happen in just seconds. But drowning is also preventable, and Hughes wishes every parent knew that no matter how much you supervise your children while swimming, it's the non-swimming times when your child isn't expected to be in the water that it proves to be the most deadly.
We put all this care and concern into picking out the right car seat and making sure we use car seats correctly, into knowing the Heimlich, into like cutting up their grapes and their hot dogs and making sure they don't eat popcorn. And so it's not a matter of trying to, fear-monger or make everyone panic that they can't ever be around water again. But it is just like knowing the actual statistics.
Puddle jumpers like this one are produced by various manufacturers under different names, but Nicole Hughes wishes she had never seen one. Hughes and doctors argue they give children a false sense of security.
Why does a 2-year-old need to love the water, honestly, when it is the #1 thing that could kill them? They just don't. But we don't stand in a parking lot, and say, I just really need you to love this. I just need you to love water. We don't put them around weapons and say, I just want you to be comfortable around this. We just don't do that. And we don't leave it there and say, we don't leave a gun there and say, don't touch the gun and think it's going to be enough.
According to Holston Medical Group pediatrician Dr. Lauren Stout, the vests teach young children to be upright and vertical in water, the wrong body position for learning how to backfloat or swim.
Puddle jumpers are so light that kids don't realize that they have them on. So they get in the water with a puddle jumper on. They float right back to the top of the water, which isn't how they need to protect themselves. That's not how you naturally get to the top of the water. It's just by floating back up. And then they're so light that if they get out of the pool and then they're eating lunch, they take off the puddle jumper for whatever reason, and then they're like, okay, it's time for back in the water, and they jump in without the puddle jumper.
She encourages parents to enroll their children in self-rescue lessons.
Coming up, Kristen talks about self-rescue lessons, how a program in our region is teaching children this important life skill, and how those classes help save the life of a 2-year-old from Knoxville. You don't want to miss the video.
At the Bristol YMCA, employees are committed to making sure that children as young as 1 learn how to float.
The Y is the single largest provider of swim lessons in the world. And the Y didn't or doesn't teach swim lessons for that age bracket. And meeting with Nicole and Levi's tragedy, I wanted to do something about it.
Bristol YMCA President Rick Matthews started the program Little Floaters in 2019, 1 year after Levi died, teaching children not only to have a healthy fear of water, but most importantly, how to survive.
If we teach every child how to float, there's an 88% survival rate if they have a water incident after that. So I think it's critical we teach them at that age instead of hoping and praying and waiting that they can make it to that age without any kind of swim lessons.
The program is taught by Mara Hill, a former collegiate athlete and swim school instructor.
I absolutely love it. Seriously, it's like the best job I've ever had. It's probably the most important thing that you can give to your child to teach them to be safe in the water.
Knoxville mother Julie Alley drove more than 100 miles every week to take her 2-year-old daughter, Alyssa.
I just wanted to be prepared and be proactive.
Those lessons were put to the test and captured on her home surveillance camera when her daughter fell into the pool.
And I actually was watching my son Samuel, and then I heard a splash, and I was like, what? What was that? And I looked at her, and that's when I saw that she had jumped in, but then she was doing exactly what she had learned from Miss Mara, and she did her starfish, that they call it, and she was just floating.
Allie says the self-rescue lessons saved her daughter's life. Bristol YMCA leaders are on a mission to give every child they can those precious seconds.
To see that happen and see Alyssa go in is frightening. But to see her kick her feet like she did and come up and starfish the way she was taught in under 4 weeks, I really believe, and I got goosebumps just saying this, I really believe it saved that young girl's life. And to see that, and to know that lady drove from Knoxville to bring her daughter here and give us the care and trust to teach her daughter is one of maybe the single greatest thing of my lifetime.
Matthews is leading a charge and would like to see every single YMCA in the country with a Little Floaters class.
I can't take care of that today, but what I can do, I could start with the state of Tennessee. And I'm ready, willing, and able in my team to train every Y in Tennessee today if they're willing to take this on and help me save some lives.
For Nicole Hughes, pain is driving a new purpose. She hopes by sharing what happened to her son, she can help prevent other children from drowning.
You know, it was 5 years in June, and I still think, like, if just one thing could have been different.
Hughes created Water Guardian tags that can be worn around the neck as a reminder of who is responsible for watching the kids. It may seem simple, but it's a tangible reminder to keep an eye out. It's also been endorsed by the American Lifeguard Association as a movement that could help save lives.
My son was missing for less than a minute. Drowning is quick and it's silent. It's also preventable. Please talk with your pediatrician about how to keep your child safe.
She's also been instrumental in pushing the American Academy of Pediatrics to change their policy on drowning. They changed the policy a year after Levi died to include that swim lessons start at age 1 instead of age 4. Nicole and her husband have since had 2 more children, Willow and Teddy.
The way we've approached water with them, now knowing, is very different.
Here is her daughter, Willow, at just 1 year old, swimming. She admits it's hard to be vulnerable and share what happened to her family, but in the same breath says if it can save another child's life, it's worth it.
You hear the stories of people who are like, I didn't know, I thought the puddle jumper was the best thing I could do. I mean, I was that mom. You know, and I just think, what if one piece of information had reached me before? What if I knew it was 1 to 4 year olds? What if I knew the dangers of puddle jumpers? If it could be so different for someone else, for another family, for another little boy.
Nicole Hughes and doctors, of course, recommend layers of protection when your kids are around water, like fences, security cameras, and supervision. I also want to stress my report tonight focused a lot on pools. It's still required by law for children to wear a life jacket when on a boat until the age of 12.